The road stretched endlessly through the Texas plains, cracked and sunburned under a sky that looked like it was bleeding into dusk. Heat shimmered off the hood of Ethan Cole's old pickup, though the sun was sinking fast, swallowed by a haze of dust and loneliness. The sound of cicadas rose and fell like something alive. No radio stations reached out here. No cell signal. No other cars for miles. Just the empty whisper of wind brushing through the brittle grass and the steady hum of the engine that sounded too loud against the silence. Ethan drove with one hand on the wheel, the other tapping the corner of a folded letter resting on the passenger seat. No return address, no name, just one short message printed by an old typewriter. If you want to see something truly forgotten, come to where the Cole family once lived. The house still remembers you. He'd been photographing forgotten places for years. Dead towns, rusted factories, old homes left to decay. But this letter had felt different. The mention of his last name had been enough to pull him out here, somewhere between nowhere and the edge of memory. He couldn't remember any family in Texas. His father never spoke much about the past, and his mother had died before he was old enough to ask. But something about the words had felt familiar, like a whisper in a dream he couldn't quite recall. The road narrowed, turned to dirt, and finally faded into a faint path, leading through tall, dry grass. The farmhouse appeared slowly in the distance, framed by the dying light. Its silhouette stood crooked against the horizon, a skeleton of wood and dust. The closer he got, the colder the air seemed to become, though the evening was still warm. Ethan parked in front of the gate, which leaned on its hinges, almost ready to fall. He stepped out, boots crunching on the brittle soil, and grabbed his camera bag from the truck. The smell hit him first, the scent of old wood, rust, and something faintly metallic. The house looked as if it had been forgotten for a century. Paint peeled away in long curling flakes, revealing grey timber underneath. The porch sagged like a tired sigh. A single rocking chair moved slightly in the wind, its slow creak echoing through the emptiness. He lifted his camera and took a shot. The click echoed strangely, as if swallowed by the house. He checked the digital screen, and his breath caught for a moment. In the upstairs window, just for a split second, he thought he saw a pale face watching him. When he lowered the camera, the window was empty, probably dust, or reflection. He told himself that, but his heart didn't slow down. The front door hung slightly open. Ethan hesitated, camera in hand, then pushed it wider. The hinges groaned, a long, low complaint. Inside, the air was stale, thick with the smell of rot, mold, and something faintly sweet. Dust swirled in his flashlight beam, moving like smoke. The living room was frozen in time. A couch with its stuffing spilling out, a piano missing half its keys. On the wall, faded photographs framed in tarnished silver. He stepped closer, brushing the dust away from one of them, and froze. A family of 3 stared back at him. A man, a woman, and a small boy. The man's face had been scratched out, the woman's eyes smeared. Only the boy's face was clear, and it looked exactly like Ethan when he was 7 years old. He stared at it, heart pounding in his ears. No, that's impossible. He didn't remember this place. He didn't remember them. But something deep inside him, something buried and old, shifted uncomfortably. A sound broke the silence. A creak from upstairs. Slow, heavy, like footsteps. He turned toward the staircase. The beam of his flashlight trembled slightly as he called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" Silence. He tried again. "Hey, I'm not here to trespass. Just taking pictures." Nothing. Still, the sound had been too distinct to ignore. He started up the stairs, one careful step at a time. Each board groaned under his weight, and the air grew colder the higher he went. At the top of the stairs, the hallway stretched longer than it should have, each side lined with closed doors. Only one stood slightly open at the far end. The door creaked softly as he approached. Inside, the smell of mold was thick. It was a child's room. The wallpaper was once blue, but had faded to grey. Toys lay scattered across the floor. Wooden blocks, a small train, a toy truck turned on its side. A layer of dust covered everything except the bed, which was strangely neat, the blanket tucked tightly around the corners. Something on the wall caught his attention. Words written in faded white chalk. "I never left." Ethan stared at them, confusion and unease crawling up his spine. He took a cautious step forward. The floor groaned beneath him, a deep, low sound, almost like the house exhaling. Then he heard it, a soft sound from behind him, a child's sob. He spun around, flashlight sweeping the room. No one was there. The door was still half open, swaying slightly, as if someone had just walked through it. He turned back and froze. In the cracked mirror above the dresser, there was a reflection that wasn't his own. A small boy stood behind him, head tilted down, whispering something too soft to understand. Ethan's throat went dry. "Hey, who's there?" The boy didn't move. Then, in a blink, the reflection was gone. The mirror showed only Ethan, pale and shaking. The chalk words on the wall had changed. He didn't see them move, but they weren't the same anymore. "He made us stay." Ethan's stomach turned cold. His breath came fast, shallow. He backed away until his shoulders hit the wall. Something brushed his hand. Cold, wet, and small. He yelped, stumbling back toward the hallway. The flashlight flickered wildly. The house groaned again, louder this time, like the noise of something shifting deep within its bones. He ran down the stairs, his boots slamming against the boards. But when he reached the bottom, he stopped dead. The front door, the same door he had entered through, was gone. In its place was a solid wall, old, cracked, covered in peeling wallpaper, like there had never been a door at all. He dropped his camera bag and rushed to the windows. Every one of them was sealed shut, wooden boards nailed across them from the inside. He hadn't noticed that before. He couldn't have missed it. His pulse thundered in his ears. No, no, no. He hit the wall with his hands. The wood felt soft beneath the paint, like damp flesh. The house seemed to breathe under his palms, slow and deep. Then came a whisper, faint and near his ear, though no one was there. "You came back." He spun around. Nothing. The air was heavy, thick enough to choke on. He could smell iron again, stronger now, mixed with the scent of something burnt. He turned the flashlight toward the staircase. For a moment, he thought he saw a shadow moving, small and quick, like a child running across the landing. He stepped backward, nearly tripping over the couch. His camera hung uselessly around his neck. He lifted it, took a photo without aiming. The flash burst, lighting the room for a fraction of a second. And in that flash, something moved in the corner, a pale shape. A face turned toward him. The light faded. The shape was gone. Ethan's breath came in ragged gasps. He wanted to leave, but every door had vanished. Every way out was sealed. He was no longer sure when the house had stopped being a place and started being a presence. He whispered into the dark, voice shaking. "What do you want from me?" Only the walls answered, a deep creak, slow and sad. The sound of something alive pretending to be still. Outside, the night had finally fallen. The wind had stopped. The world beyond those walls had gone completely silent. And inside that silence, Ethan Cole realized he wasn't alone. Not anymore. ChatGPT said. Ethan's scream echoed through the dark like a trapped animal. "Let me out!" he shouted, pounding on the wall where the front door had been. His fists hit splintered wood, peeling paint, and then something softer beneath it, like the wall itself was breathing. The sound that followed wasn't an echo. It was a groan, long and low, as if the house had been waiting for that plea. He stumbled backward, chest heaving. The air felt thick, heavy, and cold. His flashlight flickered, throwing shards of light across the room before sputtering out completely. In the blackness, his own breathing sounded wrong. Too loud, too shallow, too human against something ancient. He fumbled for his camera, turning on the flash. The sudden burst of light filled the room for less than a second. In that flash, he saw them, pale figures standing in the corners of the room. They weren't solid, more like smudges of smoke shaped like people. Their heads tilted toward him, their mouths open as if whispering. Another flash. The figures were closer now. One of them reached out a long grey hand. Ethan's stomach lurched. He dropped the camera, the strap catching around his neck. No, this isn't real," he shouted. He grabbed the camera again and ran toward the kitchen. The flash burst as he moved, illuminating pieces of the house like a nightmare strobe. The walls seemed to bend inward, warped by the light. The kitchen reeked of iron and decay. Something dripped slowly from the ceiling. The sound of it landing on the tile echoed like a heartbeat. On the counter lay a rusted meat cleaver, its blade stained dark red. It looked wet. He backed away, the floor sticky beneath his boots. The refrigerator door stood half open, humming softly, an old broken buzz. He stepped closer, drawn by something he didn't understand. Inside, instead of food, there were photographs, hundreds of them, pinned and stacked together. He reached in and pulled one out with shaking fingers. It was a picture of a little boy, standing in the same farmhouse. The walls behind him looked clean, the furniture new. The boy smiled into the camera, sunlight on his face. He looked exactly like Ethan. He dropped the photo and grabbed another, then another. Each showed the same boy, a little older each time. The years passed in the pictures, but the setting stayed the same. This same house, never changing, frozen in time. The final photo made his heart stop. The boy was now a man, him. His adult face stared straight into the lens, hollow-eyed and expressionless, and behind him stood a shadow, tall, faceless, its hand resting on his shoulder. On the back of that photo, written in shaky, faded ink, were the words, "You came back, son." His breath caught. The letter, the house, the photographs. None of this was random. He'd been led here. A deep voice spoke from somewhere behind him. Low, calm, and close. "I told you never to leave this house." Ethan froze, every muscle locking in place. He turned slowly toward the sound. At the end of the hallway, barely visible in the dying light, stood a figure. A tall man in a farmer's coat, torn and drenched in something dark. His face was wrong, blurred, like it was made of shifting smoke. Ethan's voice broke. "Who are you?" The figure stepped closer, and the boards under his boots moaned, as if the wood itself feared him. "You know who I am." Ethan shook his head violently. "No, you're not real." "You left us here, Ethan," the voice said. It didn't come from the man's mouth. It came from the walls, the floor, the ceiling. The whole house spoke. "You forgot us." But the house never forgot you. The walls began to bleed, dark. Thick streams of liquid slid down the wallpaper, glistening in the flicker of his camera flash. The photographs on the walls burst into flame without fire, curling, blackening, their faces twisting as they burned. Ethan fell to his knees, hands pressed against his head. "Stop it, please stop it!" The voice deepened, vibrating through the floorboards. "Your father built this house to keep you safe, but when your mother tried to leave, he made sure she couldn't. He wanted to keep the family together, forever." Images flashed through Ethan's mind. He didn't want to see them, but they came anyway. His mother screaming, his father holding the cleaver, the smell of smoke, the crackling of fire. Ethan choked back a sob. "No, I don't remember that. That's not me." "You were the only one who got out," the voice whispered. "But you were never meant to." The floor under him trembled. He grabbed his camera again, snapping another photo in blind panic. The flash revealed the figure now standing right in front of him, its face inches away, hollow eye sockets, a mouth that moved without sound. Then came the whisper again, this time soft, almost kind. "It's time to stay home, Ethan." The light flickered once more, and then went out. The house plunged into complete darkness. Only the creaks and groans of old wood remained. He could hear something moving behind him, circling, breathing. His pulse thundered. He ran, crashing into walls, into furniture, desperate for an exit that didn't exist. He found the staircase again, but it looked different now, longer, steeper, like it was stretching into the shadows. He climbed anyway, his legs trembling, gasping for air. At the top, a faint glow came from the child's room. The same one from before. He stepped inside. The bed was made. The toy truck was upright again. On the wall, the chalk words had changed once more. "Welcome home." He backed away, shaking his head. No, I don't belong here." The floor gave a long, drawn-out creak, and then the door slammed shut behind him. The room darkened, except for the glow of the camera screen still dangling from his neck. It turned on by itself. The lens shifted, focusing on him, and then it took a picture. The flash exploded, blinding white. The next morning, Sheriff Tom Grady drove down the dirt path toward the old Cole property. Locals had reported strange lights there again, the same way they had for decades. He parked by the broken gate and stepped out, the dry wind tugging at his jacket. The farmhouse stood silent. The porch caved in. The roof partially collapsed. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Inside, the air was still. Dust and cobwebs hung in thick sheets. The sheriff's boots left prints in the floor dust as he made his way through. On the living room wall, something new caught his eye. Words written in black soot. "The house remembers." Grady frowned. He touched the soot with his gloved hand, feeling it smear under his finger. Fresh. On the table nearby lay a camera, modern, clean, out of place. He picked it up, pressing the button to view the photos inside. The first few showed the house, empty rooms, peeling wallpaper, broken furniture. Then, the later ones showed something else. Faces in the dark corners, figures in the mirrors. And finally, the last photo made him freeze. It was taken from inside the house, pointed at the upstairs window. In the photo stood a man, young, hollow-eyed, pale as death, looking out toward the fields. Sheriff Grady lowered the camera slowly. He looked up at the same window. For a heartbeat, he thought he saw someone there, standing behind the glass. When he blinked, the figure was gone.
Please like and subscribe channel Fear Frequency for more horror stories. Thank you.